Hello, my name is George Bud Ivy. I'm the president and senior remediation specialist with Ivy International. For those that are tuning in, Ivy International is an international award-winning technology company. We develop technology to enhance physical, chemical, and biological remediation, or combinations of those, that are used globally by environmental consultants and contractors to, again, optimize, speed up contaminated site remediation. And we know time is money, so we do a lot of that type of work. For those that don't know, I'm actually a synthetic organic chemist, meaning, like I jokingly say, you've seen Walter in the TV show Breaking Bad. The difference between Walter and me is I'm actually a better chemist, and I can make a lot more probably illegal things that he could. I would never do that because I don't think I would look very good in an orange jumpsuit. That aside, I have a tremendously good understanding of the fundamental chemicals of concern that we typically deal with domestically here in the States, but globally, and emerging contaminants such as PFAS. Through my career, I did something that was a bit odd in the 1980s. When I finished my synthetic organic chemistry background, I was actually on track to go towards doing a master's or PhD. And I realized that wasn't for me. So I walked across the campus and did geological engineering, which was interesting. I later got a master's in project management. So I'm really a hydrogeochemist in the way I look at things. It's allowed me insights and a multidisciplinary approach to understanding contaminated sites, which leads us into a workshop that I enjoy doing. I can do up to a half a day to a full day, but often I'll do like a 1 or 2 hour. In this case, for NGWA at the Water Week in Las Vegas, I'm doing a called Hydrogeochemistry Made Easy for Site Investigation and Remediation. And the idea from that is to share insights that I've gained on the behavior of contaminants that's actually limiting why they're less physically, chemically, and biologically available, leading to why they're taking 5, 10, 15, and I deal with a number of sites that are over 20 years in age, trying to remediate them and help clients navigate through towards, a solution. And obviously stakeholders and everyone's probably a bit frustrated. That said, during the presentation, I'll explain the typical behavior, and I'm also going to talk to you about ways that we can modify or change their behavior so that we can, again, improve those physical, chemical, and biological processes. And I do it in a very visually driven way, because I'm not going to talk at the audience. Like sometimes we take, I hear people say, oh, I really didn't enjoy my chemistry courses in high school or university. I said, because you're being probably more talked at than talked to. And I show a lot of very visually driven examples. And sometimes, time given, I'm actually do something on a tabletop and show the audience. It just depends, or get them to do something in the audience. That's usually more with the half and full day, but I'll probably have some, again, visually driven stuff. So you can go like, oh, wow, that makes sense. And a lot of, again, visually driven stuff. I might even shake a vial in front of you to some other things to show you what we can do. But at the end of the day, we're investigating sites to understand the scope of contamination, be that vapors, dissolved phase, soils, not only soils, but sometimes in bedrock, that are impacting not only the soils, but they present a risk through direct contact pathway of spreading, maybe impacting a water supply. And these contaminants, as we know, can include the broad range of petroleum hydrocarbons, chlorinated solvents, and then we have emerging concerns like PFAS. And I even throw a slide in on PFAS, sort of say that a lot of people talk precursors and how crazy they are and how difficult they understand. And in one slide, I'm going to dumb them down to about a 1 out of 10, how simple they are to understand. I can explain how they go from being a precursor, which is not regulated, to a regulated PFAS. And I'll even use an analogy of how you have a nice, beautiful bottle of red wine you sat on for 5 years, and now it's gone bad because vinegar is starting to form in it. Honestly, that type of reaction is literally what's taking place. That's why your glass bottles are amber or green, to keep the UV light out, or just strong light out. We always talk about UV light, but just strong light can be effective for causing those changes, and bacteria as well. But I try to really show you guys some, how would I call, things that I've learned along the way. I'll also show you that water, you're taught's H2O. Well, it's true, but not entirely true. You're like, okay, what's he talking about? Well, water, we know, is attracted to its neighbors like little magnets. It forms what's called hydrogen bonding. You probably heard that in high school or in university. But what they don't tell you is the water actually coordinates itself three-dimensionally. So it creates like what's called a water cluster, like a beach ball. That's what you're pushing and pulling through soil. In reality, I can actually show you how you can take that large cluster of water and make it much smaller, so we can actually move into and around much finer textures involving clay, silt, sands. I like sands and gravel, but I'll be honest with you, very few sites do I see sands and gravel unless I literally go up to the north of Alaska or northern Canada, or you take me to the Saudi Arabia deserts, do I see sands? I honestly, I never get pure sands. And when I do, I try to keep a straight face because they're wonderful to work in, but they're not the reality of what we have to deal with. I'll talk to things like the 8 or 9, probably I'll limit to the 8, but there's actually 9 variables that limit the physical, chemical, and biological availability of contaminants, and I will show them all to you. I will probably stress what I consider is the most prominent ones that you need to manage, but if you ignore these other ones and you're not quite sure what's going on in your site, it's really probably attributed to these other factors. But the good thing is I'll show you ways that you can alter or manipulate them, and manipulate in a good way, to improve the contaminant availability. Because once the contaminant's available, you can do anything. Or jokingly imagine the dance floors where everything good happens. Well, if the molecules are sticking on surfaces like the wall, they're really not getting on the dance floor. They're not really available. I'll show you how to tease them onto the dance floor, where you can then do something physical, chemical, or biological and make things happen. So it's only for an hour. It sounds like it's an awful lot to share with you, but it'll be very visually driven. And then what may happen at some point in time is it's been a long time since I did a longer version for NGWA, but maybe I might look at doing a 2 or 4 hour workshop. And that can literally be a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, where you're literally going to be sitting at your chairs going, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And then they really demystify a lot of things that you may not find easy to appreciate. So I'll kind of stop at that. So again, it's going to be hydrogeochemistry made easy for site investigation and remediation. I tend to have a lot of fun doing it. I have a lot of energy for it. I think you'll have a lot of fun if you sit in on this, and it'll be probably an hour that you won't forget. And if you ask me later if I'm ever doing a longer version, and I do from time to time, I'll happily send you an email, but I'll be nudging the people at NGWA if to look at probably doing a longer version, because the feedback I get's been a lot of fun. But I'm really busy. I do a lot of international travel. I've been to 73 countries, and that's going to probably be up to 74, 75 before I hit December. Just there's lots going on. But I can tell you guys one thing. From an environmental perspective, remember one thing. The US EPA was formed in December of 1970. If you then look at what happened globally in terms of the Clean Water Act, when Australia came on with their national regulations, Canada came on, Europe came on, literally within 5 to 6 years that all the major Western nations stepped up and had their national programs in the beginning. And if you stop and think of December of 1970 to where we are right now, we're almost 56 years old. Isn't it amazing what we've accomplished in the last 56 years? First Earth Day was in April of 1970, but it's just, so I got a lot of hope. I'll share some insights I've got that hope us get us into our 60th and 70th year doing a great job. So I thank NGWA for having me in. I'm looking forward to coming down to Las Vegas and presenting this, and take care and see you soon.